Okay, we're moving along quite nicely here. I would like to say to you all before we go any further that the figures that we're talking about today, particularly this first one that we did, the twinkle to the open right turn, this information and the figure itself can also be danced in your foxtrot. So just use the foxtrot techniques and timings and create that same figure, and you'll also increase your awareness that these techniques and informations are very compatible from dance to dance. We're going to go into another figure here that's very, very commonly used in the silver and above dancing, and it's called your oversway. Now you could do an oversway in any dance, any open figure, or any open level of competition. You could do your oversway in your waltz, your foxtrot, your tango, and even your Viennese waltz. So we find some common flaws here in this oversway that we wanted to try to touch bases with you today. The majority of what we see is that we enter this oversway from a promenade position. So we're just going to start in promenade, and we're going to dance a promenade chasse as if we were doing this in waltz or foxtrot. And we're going to dance our chasse. And from the completion of chasse, we're going to enter our oversway now. What I would like the gentleman to particularly pay attention to is that I come off of my first step. You can still see that I'm in promenade position. Well, an oversway is a closed position figure. So I absolutely, before I place my next step, have got to rotate and shape my body to my lady. So you can see I've closed the position so that my lady's center can dance forward into me before I start to create the shape of the oversway. I think the biggest flaw is that we stay in promenade. We actually enter the oversway in promenade. And so because this fault has occurred, my center is really not going to be to my girl when I go to lead the oversway, and I overturn her body, take her shoulders behind her hips. So we get into this very unnatural, I would say sort of bent or crooked position with the lady as her shoulders and her head and her hips twists literally off of her base of her feet.
It can create a great pain in the back.
A lot of stress in the low back because you're twisting it to begin with, and then you're taking your shoulder and your head weight behind. Mm-hmm. And at first I would have to say that this was created by the flaw of the gentleman if he does not turn and close the position up, because he's created this open space for her to go there. And so I sort of create an entrapment of her body and not giving her the opportunity to go anywhere other than where she did with me the first time by rotating and closing this position up. So you see how centered we are now. I begin to create my shape, and my lady extends out of my right side, absolutely beautiful. Feel very, very comfortable the fact that our position and our centering was not disturbed as we entered into the oversway. One more thing for the gentleman before I turn the oversway over to Olga is that, gentlemen, once you have landed or placed your right foot and you begin to create this shape, you cannot go down any deeper. I want you to be whatever level that you want the oversway to be at as you place the left foot. So if I've got a lot of time and I want to create a really big shape, I'm going to really drop on that foot and be complete with my level of weight as I lead the sway. Again, very uncomfortable for the girl if I keep lowering as I create the shape. Very, very important. Olga?
I think it's important for a lady to start in a good position when you stay in promenade position. Your promenade position needs to be turn your center towards your partner. And when you create your promenade position, you just need to turn your feet, turn your hip, but keep center more towards your partner here. Even you turn over. So it's a couple of ways to get to promenade position. The one way we can roll off of each other here. And the second, you get more behind and create more sway towards your partner and create action. So we're talking early tapes to using rib case to create that promenade position, and I'm going to touch this part with you right now. So I have 4 blocks of the body, head, shoulder, rib case, and hip. So this part is very, very important. To create a promenade position, I'm not just turn my head to go to promenade position and change my shape. I will use a rib case to move myself further to right side of partner. Also can create my sway compressing down to elevate. So my rib case will not just go to the side, but create more rotational figure up. So right side will stay, left side will go further, or right side will go more towards left side here. This will maintain good connection with your partner. So again, I'm not turning away from my partner, but I'm compressing and go towards my partner here. I'm going to demonstrate for you this promenade position. I'm going to stay here. My hip will go up and more under. So I'm not creating my hip and behind here. So I'm going to go more under and up. Also important for promenade position and a sway or oversway position, important how you can maintain your balance. You have a two line in your body. One comes from the tailbone here to the sternum. It can be one line, one diagonal line here, long line. The center of the levity, this point, will be more above or will be towards your toes or your front of the foot. Then the second line comes from the seventh spine to your nose. It's another diagonal. We talk more about this on the other video tapes, on the syllabus, on the beginning tapes, but I'll touch very little about it. So there are two lines, one on top of another. You will keep your balance up and forward. As soon as you drop your head, your center of the levity will collapse and you start to losing balance. That's very important, not just in promenade position, but on the sway position when you go more low and under. So make sure any line you're going to create, your center of the levity will be slightly forward and above, no matter what line you're going to create. If as soon as drop my line, I will start to lose my balance. And then partner will be very heavy for a gentleman. So I'm going to demonstrate for you one more time a promenade position when I go more under here and I turn just my feet and my hip and my head. And as I go further to stop in this position, it's CBMP position and it's contour body movement position and promenade position. And next, if I do my sway from here, I'm going to maintain my center of the levity up and go under the gentleman, but not dropping my upper body, maintain up and over. So you can imagine if you have a little bridge here or leg, you need to move up and over that bridge, not go underneath, which take your whole weight down.
All of what she's saying is so incredibly necessary for the lady's balance to be able to create beautiful pictures and shapes, which is part of the responsibility of the lady. So ladies, please do, if you have to rewind this over and over to get clear about what she's asking you to do, about how to lift your muscles up through your body to create these lines, because we're going to take you to an overdevelopment of a shape, and we want you to be able to control and to stay balanced when you create these beautiful images and pictures. I have one more thing that I would like to add to the guide, then we'll dance this figure to the music for you, is that, gentlemen, this step is called the oversway, not the overturn. And so the biggest fault, again, is that once we start creating the sway within itself, I am not continuing to turn my upper body, because you can see that that has pulled Olga across my center and taken her weight way off of her own feet. So once I've actually rotated and closed this position up, I'm just going to think about creating a great exchange of shape from one side of my body to the other. And we've got a very balanced unit. Now on the average, we'll exit this oversway into promenade, so we're just going to run through real quickly again. We're in a closed position, so as I go to swing my body weight up, Olga takes that energy right back into her left foot and into my hand, keeping us in the closed position and not allowing us to go to promenade until the gentleman actually presents the new direction. Okay, we'll do this figure to music. oversway. Now remember, we could do this same figure in foxtrot. You would dance the slow, quick rhythm. You would dance your oversway and you would exit to promenade. And I'll remind you again that you could do an oversway in your tango. But just take the same principles. Make sure the position is closed. Make sure that you create great shapes and lifts in the body, and you'll find your oversway to be a much more enjoyable figure to do and be able to present yourself with great dynamics.